Previously on the last Pokémon Crystal challenge run. She's a liar, but she's not a liar with the flyers. And coming up, it'll probably even leave the toilet seat up. Welcome back to 4 Moves. This is the series where we grab a Pokemon, we give it 4 moves, and we see just how long it takes us to defeat Shred. Sometimes we have a good old tussle the entire way through and it's a real struggle, and other times it's fairly smooth sailing. Well, I think that's going to be the case for today's Pokemon. We are running FURRET. This is a Pokemon that is rarely seen on the channel actually, although it is a very, very strong Pokemon. It's a normal type, so that means it's going to be fairly decent. So now let's pick our 4 moves. Now coming up with the 4 moves for FURRET was fairly simple actually. It is a very intuitive Pokemon to run. The first move we're going to get is Fire Punch. That's going to be in slot 4. Now Fire Punch is mostly there for Jasmine as well as the Magnemite line. In slots number 1, we are going to go for Headbutt. That's going to be our main early game attacking move, base 70 power up to 105, I do believe, with Stab. In slot 2, it's a staple for most Pokemon, especially if it's a normal type. We are going for Return. And then in slot number 3, we can learn Shadow Ball. We can't learn Earthquake, so this is our next best option for any pesky ghost types, and it might also help against the occasional psychic type as well. And with the moves locked in, shall we now take a look at our learn set and stats? We are level 5 with 25 HP. We're holding the berry, of course, with Headbutt, Return, Shadow Ball and Fire Punch. Those are the 4 moves we will have for the entirety of the challenge. We've got 14 in attack, 12 in defense, 11 in special attack, 12 in special defense, and 15 in speed. So physically and speed-wise, we're doing very well, but our special stats are a bit lacking, aren't they? And now that we've got our moves, we've looked at our stats, let's get the challenge underway. Let's see just how long it takes us to defeat Pokémon Crystal with just FURRET. Now, I was due to be doing a Generation 3 run in this particular slot, however that Love Disc challenge, it really did take it out of me. Genuinely one of the hardest challenges I have done in a very long time. It had the same kind of mental effect that something like the Shuckle challenge or the Macargo, the initial Macargo challenge anyway, had. It was just hard from start to finish. I'm very glad I did it. I don't regret it in the slightest, but goodness me, it was a slog. Took me a very long time to get a run even close to releasable. So I am a little bit behind schedule now, so there are probably going to be a few easier Pokemon in the near future, just so that I can catch up. As you can probably tell by my voice, I've not been well again. It's like the 3rd time in 3 weeks I picked up something low level, or it could be the same thing, rearing its ugly head again, but whatever it is, it's not pleasant, and I wish it would just leave, to be quite honest with you all. But there's not much I can do. I'm just going to persevere and power through and make sure that I take plenty of breaks during recordings. I think FURRET will be a fairly smooth ride though. The only battle I'm really concerned about is Lance. But if we overload with vitamins and use the rare candies, we're probably going to be in for a good time. So 2 shots here on Rival 2, and let us now get ourselves back to the lab where we'll name the rival. So that is 1 triple question mark properly named for another challenge. 1 Professor Elm spoken to who squishes our 4 moves tutor. And we now get our Pokeballs that are never going to be used throughout the course of this challenge. By the way, if you are wondering who that move tutor is, he is somebody we have specially coded in for both Supermon and the 4 moves challenge. He is there so that we are able to learn moves straight away, because you may notice throughout the course of these videos we don't get the option to learn anything. The level up move option has been completely disabled in this challenge, as has learning moves via TM, which is why we get the HM items as opposed to the HM friends. And if you do want to play this, it is available as a patch on the website, allthews.trainersquidgy.com. That is where you can download that patch, you can download Supermon patch, you can download the Challenge Run patch to change your starters and do plenty of other things. It's all listed in the documentation. I was organised for once. So yeah, if you do want any of those, please do feel free to go to the website. That is where I keep all of my bits and bobs, and I never keep anything to myself. As soon as something's run on the channel, if I remember that is, it will go up there. If there is something missing, or if there's something you'd like to see in the spirit of challenge running, please do let me know as well. Always up for a good coding challenge. I always find that some of the more difficult things, I tear my hair out for a little bit, come back to it a while later, And I'm thinking, yeah, actually, this is easy, and I get a deep sense of satisfaction from it as well. This whole challenge run patch initially was coded because I really didn't like having to use PK Hex to change the Pokemon each time. And just sheer willpower to not have to do that every single time I wanted to do a challenge got me through. Now, should we see if sheer willpower can get us through Falkner? He's our first gym leader together today. Flying type specialist, leads with Pidgey. It's a 2-shot on the Pidgey, probably going to be a 3-shot on the Pidgeotto. Either way, it's going to be a very easy gym battle for our FURRET. We grow up to level 10 and we obtain the Zephyr badge in a time of 3 minutes and 47 seconds. For some reason the auto split didn't work there. I'll try and figure out what happened with that. But for now, let us go into the Pokemon Center. We'll do a quick PowerPoint heal. We'll chat with Elm's Aid, who will give us the escape rope. And now we shall leave, because we are off towards the Dark Cave. When you don't know what a problem has been caused by, you just have to manually go and do it yourself. Falkner's split is now on the overlay, 3 minutes 47 seconds for the Zephyr badge. I'm hoping that I've fixed the problem. I've just reloaded everything. I think it might be because I had a Gen 3 run that didn't get all the way to completion. Who knows? That Gen 3 run, by the way, was Starmie, and I ended up in a loop between both Misty and Rival number 2, and I got frustrated and I gave up. But sometimes as a challenge runner, you have to know when to throw in the towel and come back to a challenge at a later date, and it's definitely the case for that Starmie challenge. Definitely didn't have a good time with it, and it wouldn't have been a fair reflection on a Starmie. So we'll come back to that probably later in the year. I do want to try and diverge away from the water types as well in the Generation 2, Generation 3 challenges. I know I have been doing an awful lot of water types, but that's because they're an easy type to run, quite honestly. If you want a very, very quick challenge run, you do a water type, especially in Generation 3, where you start off with the first gym being a very, very easy gym. You've then got a neutral gym with Misty, and then you're fine for Surge most of the time, because Surge is pretty naff anyway. Oh, we got an encounter here. We don't usually get an encounter. Must have taken one too many steps. Reorganise the bag a little bit at the same time, and we don't want to battle either of the hikers today, because we only have normal moves, and that would be a very bad time for us. However, we will take on Fire Breather Bill. He should be a one-shot on his coughing. Maybe a range, actually. No, one-shot. It would have been a very, very low roll, I think, if it wasn't a one-shot, and we'll also take on Ray. Really like taking on Ray. He's a very easy trainer to take on, because most of the time he just goes for a quick attack and does very little at all. Don't want to get Anthony today, though. That would be absolutely brutal. I am very scared, even though I said at the beginning of the video that I'm not too scared of most gym leaders. There is still that part of me that is worried about any fighting type leader. We're a little bit poor here, so we can't get as many heals as I would like. We will chat with Kurt now, though, and then it'll be time for a trip through the Slowpoke well. Apart from a double wild encounter in the well, this well has gone fairly well, if you'll excuse the pun. We are now on to the final coughing. We don't care if he poisons us. It's a quick battle regardless. We grow up to 15 and we get healed by Kurt. So overall, a very, very nice trip through this well. That means we can go into our next gym together. And in here, I don't think there's any sense in not doing all the trainers. I don't think we'll need it, but we do have Fire Punch to fall back on in case we are in a little bit of a pinch here. But everything's been a one-shot so far, and I can't see that changing too much throughout the course of these next couple of battles. I reckon Fire Punch is probably our best move against Josh's Paraso, just by virtue of it being 4 times super effective. And with all those taken care of, let's now go on to the main event. This is Bugsy, our second gym leader together today, a bug-type specialist led with Metapod that went down in 2 as we grow up to 17. It's going to be a 2-shot on the Kakuna as well. And that brings us on to Scyther. We outspeed Scyther, so that means we get a turn advantage over him, and that's all we need to get through this battle really easily. Hive Badge acquired in a time of 5 minutes and 6 seconds, 8:53 overall for the Bugsy split. Let's now leave here, and let's go straight into Arrival number 2. This time he is going to lead with Ghastly, but we are prepared for Ghastly because we have Shadow Ball. So it's a one-shot on that. It'll be a one-shot on the Zubat as well. Probably going to be a 3-shot on this Croconaw though, unfortunately. We are just not quite powerful enough to get the 2-shot, but a 3-shot still isn't bad. Rival 2 defeated very, very easily. I'm now going to do a very quick heal before making our way through this forest. So the first thing we need to do is reunite this miscreant Farfetch'd with the Charcoal Maker. That will give us a scythe, that will let us chop down trees wherever we want to in this challenge. So let's do that now, and we'll also stick on another rappel, and then we'll make our way further through the forest. We don't need to speak to the green-haired man staring at the tree. We've got our own headbutt shooter, who's a lot more convenient than he is. We'll get the double ether though, and then we'll get out of here. I do want to take on Gina in this particular challenge. I always like taking on Gina. Really good early game experience, and that's exactly what we'll need in preparation for our next gym. Whitney can always throw a little spanner in the works, no matter what you try and do. So it's always a good idea to at least get a little bit prepared for her. And we'll do that, first of all, by doing a heal here in Goldenrod. That means that our teleport spots will be set to the Pokémon Center, because we've got to go north in order to go south, in order to go back north again. We shall get to the bike. We always get the bike here on this channel, that is so that we can move in at double quick speed. And now we'll take on these trainers in the underground. You've got to take on at least 2 of these trainers in the underground every single time you do a challenge. So to me it makes sense to get them out of the way now, because we've got to get the coin case in order to get our Abra. And that way they are out of the way when PP is at a premium during the radio tower section that comes after our 7th badge. So it's just a little bit of optimization. If I'd have pressed the right buttons, it would have been a set of 1-shots here. But as it happens, we got the 2-shot on the Voltorb. Won't be too devastating, all things considered. Now that we've got the coin case, we'll escape rope out of here, and we'll go back into the game corner. Here in the game corner, they've ran out of Abras, but they give us a rental one that seems to just not be willing to be a trainer's Pokemon at all, but it will teleport us back because that's the only thing it knows how to do. Up here, I do like taking on Picnicker Kim. She is a very good 1-shot. We'll take on Camper Ivan as well, and then I'll also do Fire Breather Waltz. They're my standard 3 trainers here on route number 35. Out the other side of National Park, we find ourselves here on Route 36. This Abracadabra trainer is fantastic to take on. He is paper thin with his defenses, but gives a lot of experience, both in special and in regular experience points. We'll try Alan as well. I'm hoping that Fire Punch will be a 1-shot. It isn't, but he goes for Constrict because he's terrible at life. And with that, we chat with Floria. Floria gives us an indication to go back to Goldenrod City, so we'll exactly do that now. We'll do a little PP heal once more, and we'll get ourselves into our next gym. Gym number 3 in under 15 minutes, that's what I like to see. It's a sign of a good run. Not necessarily the best or record-breaking challenge runs, but still a very good run. That Snubble could do nothing to us, really. It can't lick us, so it can't paralyse us. And now here is Whitney. She is our 3rd gym leader together today. She's a normal type specialist, much like us. Led with Clefairy, who thundered and paralysed. That's not in the script, Whitney. Stick to the blooming script. Mega Drain, fine. Get out of here. Miltank, do your worst. Flinch, please. Or just get knocked out. Either works. Can't believe we've got to reset a bloomin' Whitney of all things because of bloomin' Metronome. I've said it time and time again, haven't I? Miltank is not the scary Pokemon. It is that Clefairy. It can turn into a bomb, it can paralyse you, it can send you to sleep, it'll probably even leave the toilet seat up. But anyway, enough of that. We can get the Squirts bottle here from the eavesdropping so-and-so, and then we'll get out and we'll do another quick heal, and we'll take a trip up north. And then the first thing we need to do is get ourselves up to this tree. We're going to annoy it, and we're not even going to bother battling it this time. It has low kick, and I don't think our FURRET particularly wants to get kicked in its area. So we will move on, get the big hammer, so that we can smash that rock in the burnt tower. And now we do need to grab the ether. Annoyingly, we've been caught by blooming Greg. Eggy Greggy here. I don't like facing him, but we have Shadow Ball, so at least we've got something to one-shot him. I do want to pick up this ether, though. That is a very useful item. No, we don't go into the Pokemon Center. This isn't Supermon Squidgy. Let's get ourselves into the Dance Theatre instead. This should be a fairly easy time. Maybe a 2-shot on the Flareon, maybe not actually. A 1-shot, we like to see it. It's definitely not going to be a 1-shot on the Umbreon, but we can Shadow Ball this Espeon. I really like Shadow Ball on a normal type. It has such good synergy. We'll be lucky to get a 2-shot here on the Umbreon, but we do, so we are lucky. And then we've just got Vaporeon and Jolteon left to go. And overall, doing the Kimono Girls early doesn't waste that much time compared to doing them after Morty. Because a lot of the time, the Pokemon you're going to 1-shot, you'd 1-shot anyway coming in out of Whitney. And the Pokemon you 2-shot would still be 2-shots after Morty. So there's very little sense in holding off on doing them unless it's a very specific Pokemon. With that, we're now going to ignore everything else in Ecruteak City though, and we're going to start making our way towards Olivine. There's a lot to do in Olivine, and there's a lot to do here as well, because we've caught blooming Corsola here. Another trainer I don't like catching. I'm getting really, really bad spinner movements today. Hopefully we'll be able to make that up in the next part of the challenge. My excuse is that this is my first timed challenge I have done since swapping to the new controller, so all my inputs are slightly different to how they used to be, but it will just take time and practice in order to get used to this new controller. After taking on Derek and Ruth and being taunted by the rival, we find ourselves here in Olivine City. We'll grab ourselves the Strength HM, that will give us the Burly Man's phone number as well. That's just what we need in order to move Chuck's rocks a little bit later. We will go and chat with Nurse Joy to heal our power points, and now we can start ascending the Lighthouse. I love doing early Lighthouse. It really does help out for Rival 3 as well as Morty. There's a lot less trouble I've noticed since doing early Lighthouse consistently. Oh goodness me, my movement really does need to buck its ideas up, doesn't it? It will get there eventually, I'm absolutely sure of it. It's just going to take a little bit of time. And I'm very glad that we're running an easy Pokemon that was never going to challenge the top of the leaderboard in 4 moves for this challenge, because that's exactly what you need when you're practicing. If you are thinking about getting into challenge running, I'd really recommend running FURRET as one of your first. It is one of those middle-of-the-road normal types that will never ever break any records, but it will do very well regardless. I say it'll never break any records. Centra into FURRET was top of the leaderboard for a very short time, about 3 years ago here on the channel, but that a lot of it was because we didn't have that many Pokemon on the leaderboard, and it's also the first challenge where I started using turbo input, and that in and of itself saves an awful lot of time. So you can decide whether FURRET earned its top spot, but it definitely was on top spots for a little while. We've chatted with Jazz, she's sold us a lie. We've picked up the rare candy, now we'll go in for another quick heal here in Olivine's Pokemon Center. Now, I didn't take on that Sailor, so I must remember to go left here and then go right. And then if we can avoid the Bird Keeper, we are golden, because that means we can now make our way into the Burnt Tower, where Eugene is giving us his one line of dialogue that he will ever have in this challenge. And now that we never have to think about him again, let's get ourselves in front of Rival 3, and we'll see what happens. This is the third of 5 rival battles, and this time he's going to lead with Haunter. This is going to be a good litmus test for Morty's gym, and we one-shot. That's very, very good. We can Fire Punch the Magnemite. It's got no special defense. It'll go down in 1. We can Headbutt the Zubat, and here comes the Croconaw. This Croconaw gets knocked out in 1 shot as well, so 4 1-shots for a damageless Rival 3. Would have been a 2-shot probably without that crits there, but our FURRET got a nice bit of luck. That means we can escape rope out. We will pick up the HP up here. We'll either use it for some money for vitamins, or we'll use it for Karen. And now it's time to go into our next gym. As you would expect, all of Morty's gym trainers have been an absolute sham and a farce. So that means we are now ready for Morty. He is our 4th gym leader together today, a dual Ghost and Poison spectacular leader who leads with Ghastly. We'll use Shadow Ball on the Ghastly, we'll knock it out in 1. Haunter 1 comes out and we do exactly the same. That brings us on to the Gengar. Turns out it's a 1-shot, so we didn't need to hold on to the Mince Berry, but we can save that for Chuck as we 1-shot the other Haunter. And that is Morty defeated, Fog Badge acquired. And you may also notice that Multi-Battle has meant that Return is now the same power as Headbutt, so we now have 2 70 base power moves on the learn set. I stick on a repel and bloomin' Raikou shows its face. That was not part of the script. We should not be seeing Raikou. I should have had a nice encounterless way through there, and now the bike shop's calling me. Oh, goodness me, all kinds of things are going wrong. I think that we've already got strength. I seem to remember doing that, so we'll just plonk on a repel and hope for no further interruptions. Kaylee, I'm watching out for you. Thank you, Kaylee. At least you are absolutely fine today. No encounters on the way in to Cyanwood, but this could be a fairly tricky area, you know, because we are going to have the type disadvantage to Chuck's Pokemon, so we'll have to play it a little bit carefully. We've got a few gym trainers to get through though, so let's skip to the end. Whoever at Game Freak decided to make Headbutt a TM in Generation 2 is now my best friend. That made the gym trainers here absolutely laughable, and we're already on to Chuck. He's our 5th gym leader together today, a fighting type specialist led with Primeape that went down in 2. Here comes Poliwrath. It uses Mind Reader. Hypnosis misses because of the Gen 2 miss, so we have an incredibly easy gym battle here. Time of 23:06 for the Storm Badge. That could have been an awful lot worse than it was. We do now have a little bit of housekeeping to get on with though, because we get the air balloon, so I'll get on with that and then we'll meet up for our next gym. So that is everything picked up that we need to get for now, so we'll start reascending the Lighthouse. We're going to take on Jasmine next. I think it's going to be 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. As to whether we take her on now or after Mahogany Town, I can't see it being the best of battles either way, but we do need to get through her, and if we can get through her now, it makes the movement a little bit smoother later on. So we will get ourselves into her gym, and we'll just hope for the best. This is Jasmine. She is our 6th gym leader together today. She is a steel type specialist who leads with Magnemite, rather, not Magneton. Good news is it's a one-shot on the Magnemite, so we don't have to worry about any Thunderwave shenanigans. And now we are on to the Steelix. Iron Tail hits, but not very hard. She misses, and now she is caught in a little bit of a healing loop. If we could have got a burn there, that would have been brilliant, but we win either way. We grow up to level 34, and we obtain the Mineral Badge in 26 minutes and 4 seconds. I do think it's a good idea to heal now, though, as opposed to healing a little bit later on, and with that, we can use the air balloon, and we can get ourselves over to Ecruteak, and we can start taking on the eastern part of Johto. And the eastern part of Johto starts off with grabbing this rare candy. We are going to get every rare candy available to us in this challenge, apart from maybe the Whirl Islands one. I think I will get the Mount Mortal one today, just to give us that extra level 4 Lance. We're going to pick up the Elixir here, even though it is a little bit bait. I am worried about our PP management throughout this middle part of the challenge, and that I do want to get both of these TMs as well. That is just so that we can sell them for a little bit more money and hopefully get enough protein in our FURRET. With that, let's take on the red Gyarados. This should be a fairly easy battle. It's going to be a 3-shot, and Thrash should not do too much. He goes for Dragon Rage in the end, even better. That gives us a red scale. We do now need to have a little chat with Lance, the liar with the flyers. And I said no to him. I wanted to say no to him. I shouldn't have said no to him, but I did want to say no to him. Let the record show that if I had autonomy in this challenge, no would be my default option for Lance. I do want to take on these 2 trainers while we're at it, just because they are very, very good experience points, and they give us a little bit of extra money to play with. And then while we're here, we don't want to go all the way in there, but we do want to pick up this Max Ether. We might as well keep on cycling down now and make our way in to the Mahogany Hideout. This is where all of the rockets live, all those pesky underleveled rockets. And you know what I'm like, I'm never going to make you sit through these. Let's skip to the end. And that is one rocket section complete. Lance tells us that everything is hunky-dory now. He gives us a bath plug as well. And he gets out of here, and we will also leave. But we'll leave in better style than him, because we'll use the escape rope. And now we'll go straight into our next gym together. This is Price's Ice-type gym. We're going to start off here with Roxanne. She's going to be as easy as you would expect. And then we'll be able to take on Price. Price is our 7th gym leader together today. He is an Ice-type specialist who's going to lead with Seal. It's a 1-shot on the Seal. Here comes Dugong. It's going to be a 2-shot on the Dugong. No, it's not. It's going to be a 1-shot with the crit. Even better. And now for the Piloswine, let's start off with a Shadow Ball. and then we'll finish it off with a return to avoid the healing loop. Absolutely wonderful. That's what we like to see. Price being about as easy as you would always expect. We can now leave. We'll get that dreaded phone call from Elm. We're going to ignore him as long as we can. And we're going to try and make our escape via the ice path, because that's about as far away from Goldenrod as you can get in Johto. Plus, hopefully there'll be no phone reception in there, so he won't be able to pester us. Here in the ice path, we don't actually need that much today. We don't need the Nebmelt Ice, because we don't have an ice-type move. We will, however, pick up the TM that lives here, TM44, that contains Rest. We'll sell that for some money. We can get an iron here because someone's leaving their kitchen appliances all over the floor in here. And we will also pick up the protein. Finally comes the PP up, and with that, we are through the ice path for another challenge. Let's fly into Blackthorn. Let us do our shop for our max repels, so that we are smelly enough now for the rest of the challenge. And we'll pick up the elixir here. We'll try and avoid this spinner. I'm never any good at it, but today I did manage to get through fairly easily. We'll do the little trip over to get this PP up, and then I think today, just for a little bit of insurance, we'll pick up the extra Perscure Berry as well. With all that in the bag, we've put it off long enough. Let's get ourselves into Goldenrod. I'll do the first part of the rockets, and then we'll meet up for the rival. So with about a third of the rockets done, we can get ourselves into the underground. We've already beaten those two trainers. So now we'll take on the fourth and penultimate rival battle. This time he's going to lead with Golbat. Return is strong enough to one-shot the Golbat, so we don't need to worry there. We have Fire Punch the Magmite to make sure it goes down in one, and then we'll Shadow Ball the Horn. So we're using most of our moves in this particular battle. We'll use Return against the Sneasel, make sure that's a one-shot as well. And then I think we'll start off with a headbutt on the Feraligatr, fish for a flinch. It didn't happen, but he only used Water Gun, and that is so bad at this point in the challenge. And we get through very, very easily. That does mean there's even more pesky rockets to get through. As always, I'm not going to make you sit through any more of these. They take up so much time, so let's now skip to the very end. And so now we are through most of the rockets. We've only got the final executive left to go. And if it's anything like all the other rockets, it's going to be a very, very easy battle. We one-shot the Houndour, we one-shot the Coughing, and we are going to one-shot the Houndoom as well. Very good stuff there from our FURRET. That means we are through Team Rocket for yet another challenge. We don't have to think about them ever again for this one, which feels absolutely bloomin' fantastic. We'll get ourselves the pink bow from Marie. We'll hold that next time we menu. And then there's one last thing we need to do in Goldenrod. We need to answer this brief little survey. It's 11212. That gives us a radio card so that we are able to get through the pesky Snorlax in Vermilion City, rather. I always get those two mixed up. Let's hold on to the pink bow now, and let's get ourselves into Blackthorn. Feeling fairly confident about Claire's gym, confident enough that I'm not going to bother to heal. It's a bunch of Dragon-type Pokemon in this gym, and we have a couple of trainers here who we can use to get a good idea of how the Claire battle is going to go. Cool Trainer Paul here isn't one of those. He's just got 3 Dratini. They were always going to go down in one shot. The first one is this cool trainer, Fran, with her Seadra. Depending on how much we... Okay. We're going to be fine at Claire. That is what I have gleaned from that. We one-shot the Seadra. That means we are absolutely 100% guaranteed to one-shot Claire's Dragonair. So we're not going to be getting paralysed in this particular battle. We can one-shot this level 36 Seadra as well, absolutely easily. And then I feel okay enough at taking on a cool trainer Mike here. He's got a level 37 Dragonair. It goes down in one. And that brings us on to our last 2 gym trainers. One of them is a trainer and the other is Claire herself, both of which are going to be very easy. We will one-shot both of Lola's Pokemon here, and then we'll move on to Claire herself. She is our final Johtonian gym leader. She is a Dragon-type specialist, and she's going to lead with Dragonair. As we figured out from the Seadra, it's going to be a one-shot as we grow up to level 47. That means Return as well as now as at its maximum power. 3 one-shots gets us started. Don't think we're going to one-shot the Kingdra though, so we'll do a headbutt. She goes for Surf, and 2 headbutts finishes her off. Very, very good. That means we now have to rush in to the Dragon's Den in order to get our badge, because Claire's a stroppy so-and-so. Let's stick on a rappel and let's get in there. And we get to beat up my favourite person to beat up here. Good old Darren with his Dragonair. That surfing Dragonair who we despise so much. We'll dispose of him, we'll grab the Max Elixir here, and we'll make our way through the Whirlpool. Into the shrine we go, where we have our second questionnaire in about 3 minutes, where we go 112, 1-2 again, and that makes Claire enter into the Dragon's Den, where she is finally going to give us that pesky Rising badge. Now, I'm always happy with sub-hour Claire, even happier with sub-50-minute Claire. Sub-45-minute Claire, very, very happy indeed. That means that Claire's going to give us her Halitosis TM, and now that also means we can make our way towards the league. Now, for the next clip, the timer ended up being paused, and I didn't notice all the way through to the end of the league. However, I have now gone back and I have corrected the time, so we will have our correct Hall of Fame time for this challenge. En route to the league today, I'm taking on our standard trainers here, just enough to give us enough experience points for me to feel confident going through the league. We'll finish off with this Pescion, and then I reckon as long as we don't bump into Inevitable Joyce there, we'll only take on Beth as well. Of course we bump into Joyce. I still can't get the timing right for her, no matter how many times I try. Beth's a nice easy battle though. She has just a single Rapidash, and I've got a feeling it's going to be a one-hit KO with our return. We will do the loop-de-loop just so that we can pick up another Max Elixir. That will mean that we don't have to Poke Center heal quite as much in the Kanto part of this challenge. We get our bags checked, and then our badges checked rather. We're going into the league, not an airport. We will pick up this extra HP up because I did end up selling the other one for a bit of money earlier so we could get some more vitamins, and now we can take on the final rival battle. This time he is going to lead with his Sneasel. He likes mixing up his league, and it never works for him. So Sneasel goes down in 1, Golbat goes down in much the same way, and we are on to Magneton. Is it a one-shot? No, it's not, but we got a Gen 2 miss, so we don't need to worry. We grow to level 50, and then we can Shadow Ball the Haunter. That brings us on to his Kadabra, and why change a habit of a lifetime? If Shadow Ball works on one, it'll work on the other. And then probably not a one-shot on this Feraligatr, so we'll do a pair of Headbutts. With that, we can say goodbye to the rival for another challenge. We'll make our way into the league. We will do a very quick heal today, and we will also procure ourselves 4 of their finest full restores. We'll either need them or we won't as we head into the league, but before going into the league, we are going to take a look at our stats, and I'll make some bold predictions. Level 50 with 174 HP, holding the pink bow with Return, Shadow Ball, Headbutt, and Fire Punch. Remember, those are the 4 moves we chose at the start of the challenge. 118 in attack, 104 in defense, 86 in special attack, 96 in special defense, and 125 in speed. Do remember, these are just the out of battle stats. We will get a big buff in battle when we face Will. Now, as for the league, I think the first 2 members should be fairly easy. We should have a good time against both Will and Koga. We might struggle against Bruno, depending on how hard Cross Chop hits us. Plus, we've got to get through an Onyx without a super effective special move. We've got Karen, who's always a bit of a question mark. If it goes well, it'll go really well. If it goes terribly, we'll have to take a reset. And I am worried about Thunderwave on Lance's Dragonite today. We've got Headbutt, and we'll have a Periscure Berry, so it's not the most likely thing that we'll get double Thunderwaved, but it is still possible. With that, let's get the timer running again. Let's get ourselves into the league. Our first league member is Will. He is a Psychic-type specialist who's going to lead with Xatu. We've got Return for the Xatu, no need to use Shadow Ball if it's a one-shot. Jinx is paper thin, so she'll go down in 1. And here comes Executor. I doubt anything's going to one-shot, so we'll fish for a flinch. It didn't happen, but we can finish it off with Return. We grow to 51. Here comes Slowbro. Let's see what you're going to do to us. You flinch, perfect. That means we can finish you off with a Return. And we've got one last Xatu to get through. Very good stuff there at Will. A nice, easy start to the league, and we can move on to Koga. I'm going to use just a Super Potion here to get us up to nearly maximum health, and we'll take him on. Koga's our second league member, a poison type specialist, leads with Ariados. So one shot on Ariados to get us started. It's also going to be a one hit on the Venomoth, and he should send out his Fortress next. We're packing a pesky Fire Punch for the Fortress, so it will get eliminated in one shot. We'll fish for a flinch against the Muck. It doesn't happen and Sludge Bomb hits, but we can two-shot it as we grow to level 52. Here comes Crobat. We'll fish for a flinch again. Doesn't happen and he shoots double team, but he doesn't bother to heal, so we get ourselves through Koga. That means we can move on to Bruno. Bruno's the first one I am genuinely a little bit worried about. We'll get up to max health and we'll see what happens. He's our third league member, fighting type specialist, leads with Hitmontop. The good thing is we one-shot Hitmontop. That means we'll one-shot Hitmonlee as well, but we are going to take some guaranteed damage off this Hitmonchan. Muck Punch will always take priority. Here comes the Machamp. I doubt we're going to one-shot it, so we'll start with a headbutt. Cross-shot misses. We're in with a good shout of winning this now. We grow up to level 53. Fire Punch the Onyx maybe to get us started. Earthquake's doing next to nothing anyway. Sandstorm's just going to be a bit of a pest, and we can finish it off with a return. No worries there with Bruno. By the way, if you are wondering why I decided to go for Fire Punch, I was fishing for a burn there. We're going to use a full restore and a HP up. Karen, I also do want to very quickly check our level. Yeah, we're close to a level, so I'm going to use 6 rare candies here to get us all the way up to level 59. And with that, we shall take her on. Karen is our final league member. She is a dark type specialist who leads with Umbreon. We're going to use Headbutt against the Umbreon. It goes for Feint Attack. That's what we want to see, and we can two-shot it. Up next is Vileplume. We don't need to worry about Stun Spore today. We can one-shot it with a return. We'll swap to Shadow Ball for the Gengar, knock it out in one. We'll go to Headbutt for the Murkrow. That will go down very easily. And then we should be able to one-hit the Houndoom. That is about as well as Karen could have gone. I am very happy with that. Let us now use a Super Potion and probably an Elixir if we've got one. Get ourselves back up to close to maximum PP. And I mustn't forget to hold on to the Persikia Berry. Very important that we hold on to the Persikia Berry here as we take on Lance. He is the Liar with the Flyers, and he's going to lead with Gyarados. It is not a one-shot on the Gyarados, but Rain Dance means absolutely nothing throughout the course of this battle. We'll headbutt this Dragonite. If we get a Gen 2 miss or a flinch, I'll feel better, just like that. We grow to level 60 and out comes Dragonite number 2. Now it doesn't matter if Thunder Wave hits because we do have the Persikia Berry and we can finish it off with Return. Here comes Aerodactyl. It could be a bit of a Scarodactyl, so we're going to give it a headbutt. Rock Slide hits, nothing too bad there. We can crit to finish it off. Should one-shot the Zard so we don't need to worry about a burn. And then 2 returns on the Dragonite. It should go for Safeguard just like that. Not quite level 61, but we have defeated Lance on our first try. Can you believe our only reset was because of a thunder paralysing us from bloody Whitney? That is kind of annoying in some ways, but we are now in the Hall of Fame in a time of 51 minutes and 10 seconds. That is not a bad time at all for our Furret. Let's take a look at the midpoint leaderboard. And on our 4 moves midpoint leaderboard, we are in a very, very good 4th place. A minute there ahead of Tentacruel and just shy of a minute behind Weezing. That does put Rapidash on to page 2 of our midpoint leaderboard. And if we take a look at our overall midpoint leaderboard, we are on the 2nd page, but only just in 12th place. Nothing bad at all about being in between a Lucario and a Zangoose there. I think we're on a very, very good challenge so far, especially considering that Furret doesn't have the best stats in the world. It really is punching above its weight at the moment. However, that does come with the caveats that we are playing with a completely different rule set with 4 moves, so it is not a perfect like-for-like comparison. Regardless, we are still doing very, very well at this point of the challenge. But that could all change, don't forget, because this is only half of the story. There are another 8 gym badges plus the red fight left to come, so I tell you what, don't you dare go anywhere, because Kanto is next. And now we are rejoining the action as we always do here in Vermilion City, where the first thing we'll do is grab a rare candy from the chairman of the Pokémon fan club. And with that safely tucked away in our bag for yet another challenge, we'll make our way in to our first gym here in Kanto. Holding on to the Prosecure Berry on the off chance that the Magneton does somehow survive a Fire Punch. It's better to be safe than sorry. And to be fair, we won't need anything like the pink bow for the rest of this battle. So let's now take Surge on. He is our first Cantonian leader, an electric type specialist that leads with Raichu. So one shot on the Raichu, and here comes the first of two Electrode. It's another one shot. Up next is the Magneton. I misclicked there, but that's fine. He went for double team. So we didn't need the Prosecure Berry after all of that. We'll one shot this Electrode, and then we've got Electabuzz left to go. Very, very easy Surge battle there. We get ourselves the Thunder Badge in 53-20. Let's get out of here and let us move on to Celadon next. In fact, you know what? I'm going to try that weird routing with Sabrina again. Let's go into Saffron Gym. She should be fairly easy. This is Sabrina, our second gym leader of Kanto. She's a Psychic type specialist, leads with Espeon. We knock out the Espeon in one. That means that all of Sabrina's Pokemon are going to be one-shots. We say goodbye to Mr. Mime, and we also say goodbye to Alakazam. That is Sabrina done, and we get our next badge in 53-57. Goodness me, very, very good time. So now we should be able to rent a Labra over to the other part of Saffron and get ourselves into Celadon. The only item I'm concerned about here is the leftovers. We don't need anything else. So let's chop down this tree. And let's get into our third Cantonian gym. Now, while we're taking on these gym trainers, I do want to take a moment to apologise for the timer being completely messed up throughout the league. I was in a little world of my own, really focused on getting FURRET across the Hall of Fame finishing line. And it just didn't occur to me that the timer was not running. I did go back through the raw footage afterwards though, and I got the timer back in perfect sync. So those splits you can see just falling off the top of the screen after we defeat Erika, those are all 100% accurate to the challenge, and our final finishing time will not be affected. Let's now take on Erika. She is our next gym leader. She is a grass type specialist led with Tangela that went down in one. We'll swap to Headbutt for the Jumpluff. Hopefully that'll be a one-shot as we grow up to 63. We'll go back to Return for the Victory Bell. Not sure a one-shot with Headbutt would happen there. And it definitely wouldn't happen on the Blossom. But that is Erika defeated. Rainbow Badge in 55-21. Let's now leave and we're going to take a trip down the cycling road. I really like this Kanto routing. It is so intuitive to me at this point. I don't think we need the Max Elixir, so we'll skip that. And we will take on Birdkeeper Bob with his Noctowl. A Headbutt will make light work of this Birdkeeper. And we'll get ourselves into gym number 4 in Kanto already. This is Janine's Poison-type gym, and it should be a very easy battle. We'll Headbutt the Crobat, knock it out in one shot. We'll swap to Return for the Weezing because it is fairly bulky as we saw in our last 4 moves challenge. Both of those have gone away now though, and we'll go to Headbutt for the Ariados. It's a critical hit, one hit wonder. She uses a die hit, wastes some money on us, and we get through. Janine, time of 56 minutes and 19 seconds for the Soul Badge. Let's now leave, and we can use our TP spot once again to get all the way back to Saffron. I am going to do a very quick heal here in the Saffron Pokemon Center before taking on my least favourite routes here in all of Generation 2. I really don't like Route 8, I don't like Rock Tunnel, and I don't like Route 10. I don't feel confident enough yet to do Rock Tunnel on camera in a video. I do it occasionally on a stream, but not on a video, so let's skip to the end of it. There we go, we're out the other end of the Rock Tunnel. We do need to dip into this Pokemon Center so that we have our TP spot set so we never have to go through the Rock Tunnel again. And we do also need to go into the power plant to speak to this manager who's wholly incompetent at his job. So he's taking after everybody else here in Kanto. I don't know what it is about them. They are just really, really bad at their jobs here in this city. We now need to fly back to Saffron City, and we'll do a quick cycle up to Cerulean, and we know what's happening next. It's going to be time for everybody's favourite part of this video, and definitely my favourite part of all of the challenge run. It's time for Nugget Bridge, and in this one I want to talk to you about a comment that I got not too long ago, saying not the nicest thing, shall we say, about this series and the Supermon series. Ostensibly, to boil it down, they were saying I was answering a question that nobody asked, and nobody really wants to know how well Pokemon will do in this series, and all I've got to say to that is I don't care, because I am having fun with this series, and a lot of the people who have been around the channel since the very beginning are having fun as well, and really like this change of pace. And I've said it a few times, I really don't mind viewing numbers. I've lost any kind of desire to keep on tracking them. It was making me miserable when I did, and I am doing these challenge runs to just have a bit of fun around Generation 2. I'm never going to be the fastest runner in the world. I'm never going to be the best at creating videos, but if we all have a good time and if I can give you a couple of smiles and a couple of laughs in the course of the video, that's all that really matters. And it's in that respect, I'm going to keep doing what we're doing now. I am going to follow what I want to do, and I'm sure you will all be along for the ride as well. And those kind of comments are waters off a duck's back to me at this point. I don't really not like bringing them up in videos because it seems like I'm being a little bit moany and a little bit complainy, but genuinely it doesn't affect me. I'm not bothered, and I am very, very happy with how things are going. In fact, I'm probably the happiest I've ever been creating challenge run content for this channel. I think we have had a very, very strong last 4 or 5 months or so, and I can only see that continuing to be strong throughout the course of this year and hopefully into next year as well. You never know, it all depends on how well I am. I've spoken so much about this, we're showing Misty no respect whatsoever. This is revenge for the failed Starmie. Challenge Misty. We're through you, 4 one-shots, Cascade Badge in 1 hour and 8 seconds. So we didn't quite get sub-hour Misty there, but we did get very, very close. Now we can make our way back to this horrible part of Kanto now. We do need to go back to the Blummin power plant and retrieve the machine parts for that terrible manager. And then we never have to think about it here again until the next challenge run, if we make it there, because I think the next one I'm recording is a Supermon challenge, and it's never a guarantee that we'll make it here. But it seems to me, at least from the HM friends who got early access to the video, that people want me to carry on the challenge after we've lost, to try and keep that air of mystiquery going. So you never know, I might have to go to the bloody power plant anyway. But now we do need to wake up this pesky, pesky sleeping bear. Still not got my timings right, even after 3 and a bit years, for getting the Pokeflute first time. I just cannot ever seem to make it click. But we run away from that Snorlax because we're a little bit of a wimp. We bypass 3 drill, we bonk our head on a sign, and we find ourselves in our next gym. This could be a tricky gym, you know, because we're not going to have anything great for any of the rock types. We are really hoping for a little bit of luck. In fact, so much so, I'm going to stick on the leftovers. This is going to be Shadow Ball's time to shine. If it has a time to shine anywhere in the post-game, it's going to be here. This is Brock, and he leads with Graveler. Earthquake does a crit there, so I'm very glad that we're holding on to the leftovers. How do we do against this Rhyhorn? Not great, but we do get a Spadef drop. I am hoping that he's just going to spam Earthquake. Should be 2 shots across the board. And this is actually one of the things I really like about 4 moves. We had to make a compromise. We weren't able to have Ice Punch on the learn set, which would be, or probably even Surf, would be the best move for Brock. We couldn't have that. We needed the moves for a more consistent challenge elsewhere, so that means that Brock ends up being a little bit harder. We'll see that again at Red, actually, because normally for FURRET I would take in Amnesia, but we didn't have the moves available for Amnesia. Really do need to practice 3 drill on this new controller as well. I made a right dog's dinner of that. But even with this bad movement, we're not on a bad time at all. Let us now do the fly trick to Viridian. Goodness me, my blooming new controller's a little too oversensitive there. Still need to keep on doing these little movement tricks though. If I lose the muscle memory, then it's going to be a bad time when I am used to this new controller. We'll grab the rare candy here. We'll also have a little chat with Blue. And because we are relatively low HP, I am in fact going to take a heal here in the Cinnabar Pokemon Center, just so that we don't have to faff about in the bag. I think a Pokemon Center heal, when you've only got one Pokemon in the party, is a lot quicker than a bag heal. And with that, we can make it to Blaine. And Blaine is our penultimate gym leader. Fire-type specialist, leads with Magcargo. We'll Shadow Ball this Magcargo. It swears at us, but still goes down in 2. Bumhead Fireduck is next. We've got return for that. It'll go away straight away. And we don't need to worry about the Rapidash either. Very good stuff there against Blaine. We have defeated him. Volcano Badge in 103.21. Let's now get back to Viridian City. We don't need to heal. And instead we can go straight in to our final gym. This is Blue. He is a mixed type specialist and he's going to lead with Pidgeot. The big issue here is going to be the Rhydon. Rhydon will be pesky. There are no two ways about it. He's sending out Alakazam next. Don't mind that. Can get rid of it in a single return as we grow up to 67. Herein lies the issue. We've got Nout for this. He could go for Sandstorm, make our day a little bit worse. And his Earthquake is going to chip away at us as well. He goes for Fury Attack for reasons beyond the realms of normal human comprehension. We're not going to complain. We should probably use a Shadow Ball on this Gyarados and fish for a Rain Dance. Oh no, he's gone for Hyper Beam. That's not great. Think we might take a reset here. Unless we get very, very lucky with a flinch on this Executor. He's taking in Sunlight. That's fine. There is still hope. Not much hope, but there is definitely still some form of hope. Please flinch. No. Took the reset. Oh, that pesky Rhydon is the issue here. Now, we don't one-shot the Pidgeot, so we will go for a Headbutt fish for a flinch. It didn't happen. On to the Alakazam we go once more. We can Headbutt this. We know it's fine. We grow to 67 again. Here comes the Rhydon. Fire Punch, maybe get a burn. It's not very effective, but then nothing we can really do is very effective against this thing. Fury Attack, we don't mind. Critical hit, we're through. We will Headbutt this Gyarados. We don't need to fish for a Rain Dance, but we get it anyway. He's Healing Looping. We're going to take advantage of this Healing Loop. Regain all of our missing HP, or as much as we can. Gyarados is gone. We are back on to Executor. He's probably going to Leech Seed because we're so high health. We have been seeded, which isn't great, but it shouldn't mean much in the grand scheme of things now. We will Headbutt this Arcanine. We crit. Do we flinch as well? No, we don't. Flamethrowers hit us. Is he going to heal? No, he's not. That is Blue done. One reset at Blue when we had nothing for Rhydon. I'm not annoyed at that in the slightest. How are we doing level-wise? Not close to a level. So we are going to have to take on a good old Gem here. Want to make the most of our rare candies. I think every level we can get at Red is going to be needed. He's got a Jinx, an Electabuzz, and a Magmar. If we don't get the level off this, I'll just do a Wild on our way through Silver Cave. Oh, that's a bit mean, isn't it? So close, yet so far. Fly into Pallet Town. We'll have a little chat with Oak. He's going to whinge at us because we haven't dared to complete the Pokédex in this. We don't care, Oak. We're just here to complete the challenge in as fast as possible time. We'll Super Repel and we'll make our way over to Viridian once more. Am I going to mess up this ledge because I've got a new controller? No, thank goodness for that. Doing that loop-de-loop there is a little bit shameful. We'll let this Repel run out on our way to our final rare candy. Where on earth is the Air Balloon? There it is. Must not forget to dip in to the Pokemon Center. We'll take another Pokemon Center heal as opposed to a bag heal. And then we will grab our final rare candy. Now, we do have to use our rare candy, so I'm going to do that off screen and I'll meet you in the second room of Silver Cave. And there we are, through the other side of Silver Cave, and we find ourselves in front of Red. He is our final trainer of the challenge, and he leads with Pikachu. We'll use Return against Pikachu. It's an easy one-shot. And up next is that pesky Espeon. I don't think we're going to one-shot it. Oh, we crit it. Perfect. That is what we want to see. It's going to be a 3-shot on this Snorlax. He goes straight for Body Slam. That's really annoying. We flinch it, and then return should knock it out. Just like that. Venusaur is our 4th Pokemon. I was going to say our 4th problem there. It could end up being a problem. Sunny Day's not really what we want to see. Can we flinch? Yes, we can. And we'll return it to knock it out. It's all going to come down to this Zard, I reckon. Just going to grit my teeth and go for a double return and hope that Flamethrower doesn't do a massive burn damage. We're through it. We get to see the Blastoise. Now, is he going to go for Rain Dance? No, he's going for Surf, and we get knocked out. Oh, that's not great. I think we're going to have to flinch that Zard. Or, even better, would be a flinch on the Venusaur to prevent any kind of Sunny Day shenanigans. He's going straight for attacks. That's not what we want to see, really. Of course, he went for Body Slam straight away last time as well, which was annoying. Amnesia's fine. Are we in 2-shot range, 3-shot range? Yes, we are. Oh, flinch, please. No. We get the exact same RNG against that Venusaur. We're going to have to fish for a flinch here on the Zard. It doesn't happen. Flinch, please. Just like that. The sunlight has faded. Kind of wish the sun was up. It's again going to come down to this Blastoise. Surf hits, crits, and knocks us out. The amount of times we get crit by that blooming Blastoise is absolutely ridiculous. We know we're only fighting 5 Pokemon in this instance, though. Oh, Reflect is terrible. Although maybe we can do some stalling shenanigans, who knows. Would be nice if we could. There's the Amnesia. Reflect has faded. Body Slam hits and paralyzes. We take a reset. Maybe we go for Pink Bow. Could be worth it. Gonna give it one more go with the leftovers, and then I am gonna swap to the Pink Bow. Might be the play. Let's see. Because I think part of our issue is we're not quite getting enough damage out on that Venusaur. We're still going to have to headbutt this Espeon and hope for a flinch. If we don't flinch the Espeon, we are just going to take a reset. It's as simple as that. Shadow Ball's not going to one-shot. So headbutt is our best option. Oh, we can't passively regain HP either. Really is one of those situations where I wish we could hold 2 items at once. FURRET was always going to struggle here at red, unfortunately. There's no 2 ways about it. We only have 70 odd in attack for our base stat, and that's just not enough for all these fully evolved high level Pokemon. We get the flinch against the Espeon. That's really good to get us started. Headbutt, please flinch. We need just 1 flinch on this Snorlax. We don't get it, and we've been bloody paralysed. I want to give it a go and see how we get on at the Venusaur with the Pink Bow. I've not gone for the right move there. I might put Headbutt in slot 1 as well, so that it's the default. That could be a sensible play. Crit the Espeon this time. Back onto the Snorlax. Flinch. Amnesia, please. Or flinch. We're at full health. We've never been at full health here. A flinch would be flaming fantastic. We don't get it, but we should be able to get rid of the Venusaur. Oh. Double return will KO, but we need a flinch. We don't get it. We're playing for flinches on the Blastoise again, and we've not had the luck so far. The sun is up, though, so he's going to go for Blizzard, and he's missed. 1 more flinch and we win. Let's see, do we get it? We do. We can finish it off with return, and we have defeated Red in a time of 1 hour, 12 minutes, and 17 seconds. Not quite sub 110 with FURRET, but still a very good challenge regardless. Let's now take a look at our final leaderboard. And that time of 1:12.17 puts us in 7th place on our 4 moves leaderboard, just in between Tauros and Rapidash there. We did lose a few places because of a nasty red fight, but I always thought that FURRET was going to struggle at red. Weezing is now on the top of page 2, and poor old Sunflora down there in 16th place. If we now take a look at our every crystal video leaderboard, we are still on page 2 in 36th place, in between Weavile and an Electabuzz challenge there. I think that's pretty fitting for our stats and our moveset for our FURRET, so I am not too displeased with the state of this challenge. It could have always been an awful lot worse. I am very happy to have done another FURRET challenge here on the channel. It has been far too long. But with that, we are done for another challenge. If you've enjoyed this one, please do make sure to leave a like. It helps more than you could ever imagine. If you want to see more challenges just like this, you can always click the subscribe button. If you want to see more challenges just like this but a little bit early, you can always join the channel membership and become a HM friend. Of course, if you've got any feedback, leave it in the comments down below. I read every single comment here on the channel. But until next time, I will say thank you all so much for watching. It's been an absolute pleasure as always, and I'll catch you all very, very soon.